The media has become a useful PR apparatus for the Democratic Party, and they are absolutely not interested in truth anymore. If they did, you'd know every single detail about what I'm going to tell you. The entire world would. Our reality would be different if you had switched the parties. Because what's happening right now, if it were President Trump at the helm instead of Joe Biden, I say Joe Biden, but I'm not sure. He's more of a Trojan horse at this point in my mind. The Dallas City Council got a memo last week and shared with the Associated Press the details. They're still vague. The Associated Press is suddenly okay with vagueness from the federal government. It said that the Kay Bailey Hutchinson Convention Center here in Dallas will be used for up to 90 days to, quote, house, quote, undocumented teens, end quote. That's what the press has been instructed to call them now. Immigrant teens or undocumented teens. One of the two. They're interchangeable. And if you're with the New York Times, you can refer to them as Trump's fault refugees. These illegal immigrants are all boys with their suddenly non-existent toxic masculinity between the ages of 15 and 17. Meanwhile, American teenage boys, bombarded with narratives telling them that they're bad for the world, maybe they aren't even boys, have they considered transitioning into a more acceptable gender? But here in America, 15 to 18-year-old boys can't find a job. 15 to 18-year-old boys have no hope. Aren't the 15 to 18 or 15 to 24-year-old boys in the Middle East, aren't they the fuel for the fires in the Middle Eastern overthrows? I know I've read that somewhere. In the entire pandemic, we have never seen what's going on in Mexico. Yesterday, 1,177 Americans died of COVID. That was yesterday. But that's not what we're supposed to be terrified by. 3,000 immigrants now being shuttled to Dallas at the height of the pandemic. They have to go to it's not the convention center, it's a decompression center. Because the tent facility at the border is overflowing, and the undocumented, unaccompanied children are sleeping on floors, unable to shower for 5 days at a time. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with the Associated Press if I got all of the terms right. It's hard to keep track of the new terminology. I'm used to hearing about genocide and cages that have been orchestrated by Donald Trump. Here's what I want to know. Why does the Biden administration consider our children so much less important than literally any other nation's children, especially now? Our children are literally killing themselves at a growing rate, and everyone agrees it's because kids have been isolated at home, unable to go to school. The isolation has been catastrophic for them and catastrophic to our children. That's a catastrophe for the future of our nation. They need our help. They need our attention more than they have in any of our lifetimes. They need us more than any American children have needed protection, maybe in our nation's history, but certainly in the last 100 years. And what does the Biden administration do? They lock our kids indoors to, quote, contain the virus, to keep them confined to their cells, isolated, alone. A child shouldn't be alone like that. Then the Biden administration turns around and ushers thousands of migrant kids into our cities, all in the name of maintaining the narrative. Now, the Biden administration is doing this, and I can't say that Joe Biden is doing this. I probably should just say the White House, or better yet, the state. The ambiguity of all of it is an integral part of all of this. We can no longer really tell who's controlling the situation. Levers are being pulled Entire groups of people are being shifted and bussed, massive secrets being hidden, and so easily, all in the dark, without our knowing. Here, America, take your table scrap. It's a little check we cut for you. Stay in your home, because that's the agreement. We've got a humanitarian crisis to cover up, and we don't want you getting further in the way. Although if you do, I'm going to blame Trump for all of it. And if you have any further questions about our elaborate wrongdoings or shady behavior, just consult the press. They'll cover for us. I mean, they'll tell you the truth. They get away with all of this because of the press. Now an arm of the state that tells us what and who to believe. They tell us that Texas is dangerous because our governor has just lifted the mask mandate. My gosh, he just wants to kill people. How irresponsible. Even though after he lifted the mask mandate, it proved constitutionalists correct in their belief that you don't need government to tell you what to do because nothing has changed since the mandate was lifted. But that's the problem, you see. The governor and the Republicans and all those damn Texans are going to get us all killed because we're reckless. We want to kill old people. Now, at the same time that narrative is being run, Biden signals love for illegal immigrants to win votes here in the U.S. And then he's piling them all into close quarters, on planes, and yes, in cages during the pandemic. He's also allowing God knows how many to cross the border without any checks on their legal status or their COVID status. There are tons of people coming and tons of people making it across our border, and they are shoving them into planes. Are they 6 feet apart? Now the Dallas Convention Center, 3,000 15 to 18-year-old boys that can seemingly come and go as they please. Not an ounce of social distancing. I swear to you, it's like an experiment of how to come up with the best possible way to spread COVID. Now listen to the starting point. 26% of the illegal immigrants are already positive. Oh my gosh, it's a dog whistle. He's saying they're bringing disease. Yeah, because they're actually bringing disease. This is a pandemic. We can import tequila and queso from Mexico, but let's skip the virus in the middle of the pandemic. The dog whistle again. Again, it's not a dog whistle. Here are the scientific facts. You want to follow science? Here it is. Mexico City is the only major city in the world where excess deaths is above 6,000 per million residents. Now, to give you an idea of how bad that is, the worst death rate for any country with significant population is the Czech Republic. That's 2,180. New York State is at 2,532. New Jersey is the highest in the U.S. with 2,694. Mexico City is more than double than any of those. And remember, we're testing more than 25 times more people per capita here in the U.S. than they are in Mexico. They haven't even tried to stop the pandemic. For 9 straight months, the positive test percentage in Mexico has been at least 40%. 40. Ours has never gotten higher than 9%. But it's a crisis. All these kids, all of them on the border, they've got to go to the convention center in Texas. The city of Dallas has literally arrested hairdressers for opening their business during the pandemic for their survival. Those hairdressers, those small business owners, were villainized by the press, by the left as a whole. But it's a lot worse when the press is in on it, too, because it's official then. You know, suddenly, inexplicably, the safety protocols are shifting, almost as if it's a bad idea to base your political beliefs on relativistic ideology and slogans and unstable facts and feelings. Most of all, the Biden administration's dubious response is yet another reminder that they don't really care about any of us. They don't care about your safety. They don't care about your children. In fact, they're a little inconvenienced by your difference in opinion. Can you just stop asking questions and go away? I'm one Texas citizen. Where are the rest? I'm one Texas citizen that would like to have some answers. Are these teenagers being tested for COVID? If so, how many are coming into our city with COVID? Now, I'm not one to panic, but the press and the left is. I'm not one to say that everybody's trying to kill grandma and grandpa, but the left and the administration is. Are these people allowed just to walk in and out? Are they allowed to leave? Where are they going? How are they getting there? What's the vetting process? How extensive is this spread? Can we finally call the border a crisis officially? Or should we just keep blaming Donald Trump even though he would have never let any of this happen? My team has been asking these questions. We've reached out to the state. We've reached out to HHS for answers. They were tactical in their response, which makes this even more concerning. The total lack of transparency, the absence of answers, all from an administration that wedged its way into the White House by demonizing a president who actually knew how to handle the borders. It's funny how easy it is to come up with a slogan and how hard it is to actually be president. I wonder if they'll ever realize what they're doing. No, I mean, they know what they're doing. They're systematically destroying our country. They know that. I mean, I wonder how they sleep at night, if they'll ever really kind of ponder that their power game actually involves real people and that real people are dying and will die because they wanted votes. A German philosopher said once, all that makes men smaller is pursued under the title of progress. We're seeing the illusion of progress. It's not. It's regression. We're going the wrong direction, 180 degrees in the wrong direction. We're now calling progress the disintegration of our dignity, the loss of our most sacred values. That's progress? We are a smaller nation and a smaller people. Every day we sit and stay quiet and don't speak up against the lies that we're expected to accept as progress. Oh, one last note. Governor Abbott, when will you start to lead?